You official on the Wooden and Charleston White team. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm okay with being a snitch. But you is a snitch, too.
His management team's trying to figure out, they're fighting for their lives right now, man. Yo, who's a snitch? Who's not a snitch? It's a snitch off.
Atlanta's a mess right now, torn apart by this wild snitching crisis that got people calling it straight up RATLANTA. Back in the day, legends like Gucci Mane stood tall, saying, "I never snitched. I'll die before I snitch." That's why people still salute him as the real G, the true king holding Atlanta down. But with all these new faces popping up and the chaos around YSL, that whole code feels like it's out the window. This city's loyalty game is changing fast. Let's get into it. Everybody knows by now this whole RATLANTA wave really exploded with the young Thug RICO trial. It kicked off back in May 2022 when Thug got slammed with that massive indictment, alongside 27 of his YSL associates, and that was the spark that lit the city on fire.
Was them there more brothers than Bird and Wayne?
Oh, Roscoe and Lil Wayne were more than
used to brain Wayne.
At first, Thug was seen as the one carrying the torch for the street code, the loudest voice calling out anybody who even smelled like a rat. He went at Gunna the hardest, throwing shade online, dropping subliminals, and flat out discrediting him. But the internet went crazy when a 2-year-old police interrogation video suddenly resurfaced, and that's when everything flipped. The wild twist? The same guy pointing fingers was now being accused of snitching himself. In that interrogation video, young Thug allegedly called out Pee Wee Roscoe, saying Roscoe was the one holding Lil Wayne's strap, and even hinting he was tied to that infamous tour bus shooting. Once that clip hit the internet, social media exploded and folks instantly branded Thug a rat. He denied it, of course, trying to explain that the video never even made it into court since prosecutors couldn't use it. So technically, he wasn't cooperating. Thug claimed outsiders were just trying to stir up drama in Atlanta's rap scene, but the denials didn't last long, because more leaks started flooding out.
Somebody Gunna ratted from saying, "Yes, ma'am." You mean to tell me this not making a rat by saying, they said Roscoe the bus up. And then a nigga.
Suddenly, jail calls hit the net where Thug is allegedly heard talking to 21 Savage, blaming Gunna for fueling the whole RICO case. Thug was heard saying Gunna straight up lied when he admitted YSL was a gang and that he knew people committing crimes under it, claiming Gunna basically took a man's life with those words. In another call, he even questioned Lil Baby's connection to Quality Control CEO Pierre P. Thomas, throwing out some wild accusations there, too. Then came that viral call where Thug's voice dropped the eerie line, "Promises I made. Promises, whatever, anything you want to know in time. I'ma tell you, but don't tell the world." After that, everybody piled on. Fans, the media, even folks in Atlanta's inner circle dragged Thug through the dirt. But the craziest part? Pee Wee Roscoe himself, the very guy Thug allegedly snitched on, actually hopped on IG Live to defend him. Roscoe came out saying his definition of a rat is somebody who cuts a deal with the government to save themselves when they're already guilty. And according to him, Thug didn't do that. But the crowd wasn't buying it. People claimed Roscoe was either brainwashed or pressured by Thug to jump online and play defense. And that only made the situation look even messier for someone who had spent years branding himself as the ultimate anti-snitch. This was the biggest twist of irony anyone could imagine. Folks online were calling it a devastating checkmate to his whole career. And of course, you can't even talk about this whole RATLANTA drama without bringing up Gunna became the poster boy of this whole snitching debate the second he walked out in December 22. He took what's called an Alford plea. That's when you don't admit guilt but you acknowledge the state's got enough evidence to possibly convict you. So technically, Gunna caught a guilty verdict without ever saying he did the crimes.
up in them conditions like that there, he'll tell to get out of jail too. He about ready to break.
I told y'all, I am the new prop. A 2-hour interrogation, and you mad that Yak got it. You mad at Gunna. Gunna don't have no interrogation tape. And everybody mad at.
He got 5 years with 1 year counted as time served and the rest suspended. But things really exploded once the video of his plea leaked. In that clip, Gunna was under oath answering yes to a string of the prosecutor's questions. He agreed that YSL was both a music label and a gang, which clashed directly with Young Thug's defense. He admitted he knew YSL members committed crimes and even said he was with Thug when stuff and a gun were found here, but claimed none of it was his. He even admitted he regretted how his music might have indirectly boosted YSL's image as a gang. Once that clip hit the internet, the snitching debate went nuclear. Rappers like 6ix9ine, Freddie Gibbs, Lil Durk, 21 Savage, and even Lil Baby all took shots, basically branding him a rat. But Gunna and his camp kept standing firm with their defense. They insisted he never sat down for police interviews, never made statements outside of the plea, never agreed to testify, and had zero plans to be part of the trial. His lawyer, Steve Sato, even doubled down, saying Gunna's words couldn't be used against anyone else in court.
It's someone that comply with the government, just bargaining for their freedom when they have done something illegal. What you supposed to do when you go in interrogation room, that's what you do. He told you, man, we say the one.
Gunna himself clarified that when he first linked up with YSL back in 2016, he thought it was just a crew of Atlanta creatives, not some gang, but it doesn't stop there, because you gotta bring up Roe, too. Roe had been connected with Thug in Atlanta's rap circle for years, but he wasn't safe from snitching rumors either. Back in 2018, he got busted when nearly $1 million worth of weed was found on his private plane. He later pleaded guilty in 2023 and got probation, but people still kept throwing that rat label on him. Roe even admitted at one point that he lied to the feds on purpose just to trick them, but swore he never put anyone in jail. Then by mid-2025, he flipped the script and started calling out Thug directly. Roe accused Thug of purposely stirring division and name-dropping Lil Baby, 21 Savage, and Gunna. According to Roe, Thug even told Lil Baby to cut him off by spreading fake snitching stories. That, of course, sparked another messy back and forth. Thug clapped back, claiming Roe was the real rat, not him. He said Roe actually snitched on people who ended up locked up, and even accused him of offering to testify against both him and YFN Lucci, just to dodge his own case. And then you got Unfunk, Young Thug's older brother.
And you have personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in furtherance of the gang.
Yes.
Back in December 2022, he took a plea deal almost identical to Gunna's. He pleaded guilty to RICO and theft by receiving stolen property, and his sentence came out to 12 years with 2 years counted as time served, and the rest on probation. The moment that news broke, the internet went wild, accusing him of turning his back on his own blood. But Unfunk wasn't having it. He jumped on social media and clapped back, writing, "Damn, people really think I told on my own brother. SMH, show me in the paperwork I told on anybody. LOL, I'm not even finna entertain any of it. Peace and blessings." He tried to brush it off, but Reddit and the blogs tore into him. Plenty of users said his plea was basically the same one Gunna took. Some even argued it was worse, because unlike Gunna, Unfunk is literally Thug's brother. Then you got Lil Woody, probably the most controversial name in this whole YSL saga. Woody's been painted as the prosecutor's golden boy, and his story started unraveling after his October 2021 arrest when he got caught in a traffic stop with a loaded magazine. The real chaos came when his interrogation video leaked. In that footage, Woody looked way too comfortable in that chair, talking about murder plots, warning cops that Thug was getting reckless, and straight up sounding like he was ready to hand them the whole YSL playbook.
Methamphetamines and a firearm were recovered. These items did not belong to you.
Yes, ma'am.
My talent and music indirectly furthered YSL the gang to the detriment of my community. YSL as a gang must end. Is that your statement or acknowledgement?
Woody flat out admitted to shooting up Rich Homie, Quan's father's barbershop, with his homie, Threat Trevante Turner, just because Threat was beefing with Quan. He even said the hit was meant as a warning shot to prove YSL wasn't to be played with. That video went viral, instantly, making Woody the poster boy for snitching in the whole YSL case. But he wasn't done yet. Woody later came out swinging, accusing Young Thug himself of being a rat, claiming Thug had joined the rat community just like him and a few others. Now, let's slide over to Lil Baby. Baby wasn't even charged in the YSL case, but he still got dragged into the snitch storm. By 2024, rumors started flying that Baby had cooperated in some unrelated legal situation, and that was enough to put his name in the mess. Rappers started calling him out. Blogs were posting screenshots, and suddenly, Lil Baby's name was floating right alongside Gunna and Thug in the snitching convos. On top of that, his bond with Gunna started looking shaky. Allegedly, in one of those leaked jail calls, Thug hinted that Gunna might have thrown shots at Baby on his 2023 track Bread and Butter. Thug even tweeted something cryptic to Baby. "What's understood ain't got to ever be explained. I'm with Chaw forever."
A young lady, went over to her place. She was there, he was there. At one point, she opened up a door. 5 guys come.
Some fans took it as a show of loyalty, while others thought it was Thug low-key addressing tension between them. Baby, for his part, didn't bite his tongue. On a podcast in December 2024, He made it loud and clear, he's not rocking with snitches. He flat out said he makes it a rule never to work with rappers who cooperate, and that those morals are never leaving him. Then there's Yak Gotti, and his story is messy, too. He was indicted on multiple charges, including the 2015 Donovan Thomas murder and the RICO case.
That's why I get away from it. I get away from it. That's why you never see me post. I don't know.
Somewhere along the line, Young Thug allegedly called Yak a rat in a leaked audio snippet, saying Yak had been tricking him for years without him even realizing it. YSL. Duke even jumped in publicly accusing Yak of snitching. The internet piled on quick, but Yak's lawyer tried to clean it up, claiming the interrogation video floating around had nothing to do with the YSL RICO case, and swearing Yak never snitched on Thug. Still, the lawyer admitted Thug cut ties after finding out Yak had told in the past. What makes Yak's case different, though, is that he didn't fold. Unlike most co-defendants who cop, Yak Gotti took it all the way to trial in December 2024, and the jury found him not guilty on every charge. A massive legal win, but the rat label still stuck thanks to those leaked videos and accusations from his own peers. That stain on Yak's name hasn't washed off even after beating the case, and when you zoom out, the whole picture looks crazy.
A guy had a weapon, hit one of the other guys with a weapon. It became a situation where he defended himself.
Atlanta's rap scene has been stuck in a non-stop cycle of accusations, leaked audios, denials, and online finger-pointing. Every other week, some new clip drops. Somebody else gets branded a rat. And then they hop online swearing they're solid. The trust that once held the city's rap game together, gone. And that's what makes this so wild. The old Atlanta, the one Gucci Mane represented when he proudly said he'd die before he ever snitched, feels like it's dead and buried. And speaking of Gucci Mane, he's still one of the most respected yet complicated figures in hip-hop, especially in Atlanta's trap movement. For years, Gucci carried himself like someone who truly lived by that loyalty and silence code the streets worshipped. Through all the ups, downs, legal battles, jail time, personal reinventions, and an endless catalog of music, Gucci's always managed to guard that reputation with his life. His story starts in Birmingham, Alabama, where he was born, but by the age of 9, he was already in East Atlanta, mostly living with his grandmother. That's where the blueprint for who he'd become really started. His father, Ralph Dudley, was a hustler and a con man, and Gucci picked up that street-smart mentality straight from him.
Official on the Wooded and Charleston White team. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm okay with being a snitch. But you is a snitch, too.
Even his name ties back to family. The moniker Gucci Mane originally came from his grandfather, who picked it up while stationed in Italy and passed it down as a nickname. Gucci's intro to hustling came early. One Christmas, his mom handed him $50, and instead of spending it on toys, Gucci flipped it into crack. That first taste of the game set his path in motion. By 2001, he caught his first documented charge after selling to an undercover cop. He got hit with probation, and with him just getting kicked out of Georgia Perimeter College, it forced him to pivot. If hustling wasn't going to last forever, rap had to be his way out. His breakthrough came in 2005 with So Icy, a collab with another rising Atlanta star, Young Jeezy. The track was a smash, but instead of unity, it sparked pure chaos. The two got locked into one of hip-hop's longest-running beefs. After clashing over who actually owned the record and the rights to it, Jeezy took it to another level when he dropped Stay Strapped, basically putting a bounty on Gucci's chain, and even his head with the lines.
Father did go to Italy during World War II. He was stationed there, and he seen the Gucci clothes. You know, he came back, he called my dad Gucci boy, and he called my...
I got a bounty on that dude, 10 stacks. So if he come to your town and you just happen to snatch that mother off his neck, I'm going to shoot you the 10 stack, man, so I can cremate that mother. Not long after, in May 2005, things turned deadly serious when Gucci was in Decatur, Georgia, and got ambushed by a crew tied to rivals. In the scuffle, Gucci pulled out a gun and fired shots. One of the attackers, Henry Pookie Lock Clark II, ended up dead. His body was found later. Gucci quickly turned himself in, telling police it was straight-up self-defense. By January 2006, prosecutors had to drop the murder charge. There just wasn't enough evidence to convict him. Gucci walked free. But the shadow of that shooting never left his name. If anything, it became part of his legend. Instead of running from it, Gucci leaned into it, turning Pookie Lock's death into a recurring theme in both his music and his beef with Jeezy. For years, he taunted Jeezy, even dropping the infamous line during their 20x20 Versus battle. Go dig your partner up, dude. Bet he can't say ish. And even as recently as 2024, Gucci was still weaving that moment into his music. On his track Rumors, Gucci rapped, "Da dropped my murder. Didn't have evidence to prove it. I think my house is haunted. Yeah, by who? The ghost of Pookie."
Put that in the dirt.
I tell you what.
Smoking on Pookie load.
That bar alone showed how he flipped one of the darkest chapters of his life into part of his legend. Gucci Mane's legacy is also cemented in his long, complicated history with the law. Few rappers have gone through as much as him and still managed to come out the other side, not just intact, but stronger. Across his career, Gucci's been arrested around 9 times and spent over 4 years behind bars. Let's break it down. Back in July 2005, he was arrested for allegedly hitting a club promoter with a pool cue at Big Cat Records. He ended up pleading no contest to aggravated assault, got 6 months in prison, 6.5 years probation, and had to cover $3,000 in medical bills. Ironically, while he was locked up serving that sentence, he found out the Pookie Lock murder case had been dismissed, but his legal drama didn't end there. Fast forward to 2011. Gucci was sentenced to another 6 months for pushing a woman out of a moving car after she turned down his advances. She later won a $58,000 settlement against Gucci in civil court. Around that same time, he was constantly in and out of jail over probation violations, stuff like failing to finish his community service. Between 2008 and 2010, he only managed to complete 25 of the 600 hours he was supposed to do, which kept landing him back behind bars. Then in November 2010, another wild incident went down after a reckless driving situation ended with Gucci punching a man. His lawyer filed a special plea of mental incompetence on his behalf, and the court ordered a full psychiatric evaluation.
Often taken to jail as after a judge revoked part of Radrick Davis's probation. Prosecutors complained that the rapper had only completed 25 hours of these 600 hours of community service.
By January 2011, Gucci was admitted into a psychiatric hospital. Days after his release, he made headlines yet again, this time for debuting his now infamous ice cream cone tattoo on his face. That ink instantly became one of the most recognizable tattoos in rap history. But Gucci's run-ins with the law didn't end there. In March 2013, he was arrested again after allegedly smashing a fan over the head with a champagne bottle at a nightclub. That charge came with aggravated assault, a $75,000 bail, and then a quick rearrest for violating parole. Later that same year, in September 2013, Gucci caught back-to-back arrests just days apart. Reports said he was acting erratic, threatening police officers and even his own lawyer, while being caught with loaded firearms. Those charges turned federal fast, landing him with possession of a firearm as a convicted felon. That's serious business, up to 20 years in prison and $500,000 in fines. By May 2014, Gucci decided to cop a plea deal. He admitted guilt and was sentenced to 39 months in federal prison. That stretch could have broken a lot of rappers, but for Gucci, it became one of the most transformative chapters of his life. He served his time, kept his head down, stayed out of trouble, and on May 26, 2016, he finally walked free. Gucci got out earlier than expected, and this is where he separates himself from the rest, and why his name always comes up when folks talk about Atlanta's current snitching crisis. Through every arrest, every charge, every violent prison fight, Gucci never once cooperated with law enforcement. He's repeated it time and time again. He has never and will never snitch. Even when he was attacked inside prison and could have easily named his attacker, he stayed silent, even when the Fed slammed him with firearm charges that could have buried him for decades. Gucci never tried to cut a deal by giving up names. He took his time, stood tall, and kept it moving. That unshakable commitment to the code of silence is exactly what made Gucci the blueprint for what a real street rapper is supposed to be, and the contrast couldn't be sharper today. While Atlanta is getting clowned as RATLANTA thanks to all the leaked calls, plea deals, and finger-pointing, Gucci remains untouchable in that department. But here's the twist. He didn't just stay the same. He completely reinvented himself while locked up, committing to a whole new lifestyle. Gucci dropped over 100 pounds, cleaned up his diet, and when he stepped out, people could barely recognize him. He got new veneers, spoke more clearly, and carried himself with a whole new discipline. The change was so drastic that fans joked, and some even seriously speculated, that the Gucci who came home was a clone. But Gucci shut that down quick, explaining it wasn't a clone, it was discipline, healthy eating, and the steady love and influence of his wife, Keishia Kaware. Since then, Gucci has leveled up into more than just a veteran rapper. He's a man who's grown. These days, He talks about maturity, family, responsibility, and leaving behind a legacy bigger than just street stories. He's gone from being a wild, unpredictable figure to someone people actually look at as a leader and mentor. And that's why Gucci's name stays legendary. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next.